I'm Rhett.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're the House Dads. Because we're dads who sell houses.
But we're also husbands, business owners, sports freaks, Christians.
Friends, marketing nerds, TV show bingers, and so many more things.
Like so many of you, we're just trying to do it all. We're trying to do it well.
And that's what we're here to talk about. Hola, amigos, which translates to hello, friends.
Thank you for clearing that up.
That's American for you. Welcome back to House Dads. We're here solo again. We're having fun.
Yes, we are.
You've seen some guest episodes. Hope you guys have enjoyed them. But as always, we're here to just talk with you.
Yeah.
Get to know you a little better.
Today, you can actually call us the Hat Dads. You see, we both on our hat
First
gang.
time wearing a hat on the pod.
Oh, is that where you got the Amigo thing from?
It is
that where
actually.
you got inspired?
Yeah. Amigo Provisions. Have a friend who works there. So supporting them. And
Shout out. Yeah. Sponsor us.
You're sponsored by Callaway.
I am. Big golf guy.
Big golf guy.
Actually.
So much free time to play golf.
Yeah. No, but I got free time coming up this weekend.
You do. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Let's
well,
start off with that.
Yeah. I'm so excited. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yes.
I'm really excited. My wife's going out of town.
You know what you mean.
Know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for her that she gets to go out of town. The thing that I'm pretty I kind of don't know what to do with myself. On Saturday, my in-laws are watching the boys, and I'm going to have my house
solo
completely to myself.
For how long?
Probably just a night. I'll probably drop them off around after nap time, so maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Won't pick them up till the next morning before church. Nice. And dude, I don't know what to do with myself.
I feel like when I'm in those situations, and we talked a little bit about this, I'm like, ooh, free time. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna watch a movie that I want. It's probably 3 hours long. I want to probably play around in golf. I want to read a book.
Yeah, all of it.
And
dude.
then you don't end up doing
Yeah,
that.
you do nothing. Watch a show on Netflix. I'm already thinking about what am I gonna do? What am I gonna eat?
What are you? Ooh,
I'm trying to maximize. Yeah, I'm trying to maximize my time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I need to pick something up in between the in-laws and my house, and just be able to enjoy it. And so the options are endless.
They're endless.
And so I'm just.
Do you know what you're gonna eat? Did you figure out what you're gonna eat yet?
Well, I actually had a gift card given to me for my birthday, and so Courtney was like, instead of using that gift card for a date, why don't you use it for the food for the weekend? So I'm gonna get myself steak dinner for Friday night and Saturday night,
Very selfless,
and your boy's just gonna be ready to go.
Bougie.
And so I don't know. I'm excited, and probably what I'll do is just hop on the Xbox with the guys, and actually play for once. And what'll be crazy is I can be loud.
Yeah.
I'll be yelling at them and stuff, So listen, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're like, what is this guy getting hyped up about? And you have time at your house alone, just look at me. Enjoy it. Cherish it while you can. I love my wife. I love my kids. But there's something about just being in your house and you're just like, there's nobody here.
Nobody here.
And so, sorry, Courtney's probably watching this.
So
thing.
I
Just
will
stop.
say, if you ever get multiple days like that, the first day I'm like, you're feeling it now. I'm like, wow. But the second day I'm like, man, I
you miss
them.
everybody.
I'm like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I miss my family.
Mine's just going to be kind of living on a high because it's just for a short little time. And then pick them up for church and we'll be back in the swing of things. I'd miss them if it was 2 days too. But one night, I'm going to enjoy it.
It's the routine now. It's
going to be crazy.
So, But that's exciting, man. Let us know how you do.
I'll report back.
What you do. We're all excited for you.
Yeah, I need to get a good candy stash for it too.
Yeah, some Sour
Candy
Patch
guy.
Kids.
Yeah, something like that.
Chocolate.
Dots. I'm serious. I'm going to get some dots. But anyway.
I haven't had dots in a long time. Yeah. Well, it's February 15th, the time we're recording this.
Yes.
That's okay to say. We do batch record these.
Well, yeah.
But we're talking about some current events, things that have happened as of late, or, just to kind of, I guess we got to put it out there. We botched our Super Bowl predictions, all right?
Pretty badly.
Super Bowl may not be as relevant now that you're hearing this, but we do have to acknowledge.
I think it's clear, too, that it's not rigged.
Yeah, the script.
The script is broken. The simulation is broken.
Yes.
We
both had the Ravens, right, winning?
Yeah, we both had the Ravens winning, and I had the
going.
Lions getting there, and that didn't happen. But, it is what it is. I think if we would have went with the chalk, we would have probably hit it, but it is what it is. We also had a big conversation before this about Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Kate and I shot a video with a little Valentine's flair to it, real estate related, and then I don't know I'm pretty good about holidays usually, like that kind of different stuff. But Valentine's Day is just different, man. Like it doesn't bring out the best in me.
No, not a fan. I mean, disclaimer: we love our wives.
Sure.
We love
Sure.
showing them love. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really weird one for us. It fell on a Wednesday, so we had youth service, and so like we spent our Wednesday night with super romantic with like 100 high school students, you know, and so we didn't really do anything special. I made Courtney a little something, kept it easy and chill. I mean, she's 7.5 months pregnant, you know, that kind of deal. But I don't know. Katie and I was talking about it before too. It's like you go to Walmart or Rouse's before, and there was more men than you could ever possibly see in one location, and we're all waiting in the chocolate covered strawberries line. You know, it's like, well, they're making it for us. It's just,
it does.
It's a lot of pressure.
It feels a lot of pressure, a lot of force.
And it's not this, like we talk, like, man, we love our wives, want to bless them, want to do special stuff for them and stuff. It's just a weird pressure. And then you see like the Facebook post and the this and the that, and then I'm like, do we say what everybody else has already said? Do we have to post it? It's
you know what I think it is now that you say that? You know, birthdays or anniversaries, like that's your day.
Yeah, it's unique to them.
This is a day where everybody's doing it. So it's kind of like, man, it's not really special if everybody's doing it.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah. It's the same thing that runs through my mind on a business perspective. It's like, how do you wish everybody Merry Christmas when everybody else did too? You know, it's just, it's different.
It is.
It's different.
And for those of you listening who may be single, I'll give you a little lesson. The first ever Valentine's Day I had with Brandy, we both kind of said the same conversation of, hey, look, let's not get anything for each other. You know, we don't need to do that. We love each other.
Yeah.
I listened. I did not get her anything. And that was the wrong move.
Yeah, bad.
The wrong move. And not because she tried to trick me intentionally, but you know, when you see your roommate, she had roommates at the time. When you see your roommates getting all these gifts, getting these flowers, and you don't get anything, you know, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, you were just being a nice guy.
So always get your significant other something.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here.
You probably are. But
Yeah,
it's okay.
maybe a little bit. But yeah, Courtney and I did talk about it before. Like, hey, we're not going to be able to schedule a fancy dinner. Courtney didn't feel like getting dressed up right now, that kind of deal. And so she's like, oh, we don't really have to exchange gifts or do anything. So I just printed out a bunch of pictures at Walgreens and made a little photo album and just gave it to her that morning, you know. So it was just a little something, but it's like, you know, we didn't put a whole lot of effort into it.
And it's tough with kids sometimes too.
Oh, yeah,
like
for
planning,
sure.
you know,
For sure.
as much as you try to plan, it's extra.
Yeah.
You got to get babysitters.
I think Brandy did like Courtney did because they're both awesome moms. They did a little something for the kids though, huh? Yeah. Courtney did something too, and I was like, wait, I didn't know we were supposed to do that.
Well, that's
so I'm
the
glad
thing.
she did.
Brandy told me, and I totally appreciate her telling me this. She's like, hey, next Valentine's Day, I think you need to get them something as well.
That's cool.
Show them how a guy is supposed to treat their, you know, the girls.
I love
I'm
that.
Like, ooh,
That's
you're right.
cool.
Didn't even think about that.
Yep.
That's why I love you.
It's good. I'm ready for girl dad life.
Yeah.
Couple months, man.
Yeah.
Couple
it's
weeks,
coming up.
really. You start counting in weeks and not months.
Sheesh.
So yeah, like 5-6 weeks, we'll have baby Emma here. Pretty exciting.
Excited to have her on.
Yeah, no. We had Wiley on.
No, man.
We haven't had the older kids on.
We need to have an interview session with the older ones.
We do.
The younger ones
would
would be a
lot of fun.
disaster.
Yes.
Older ones can probably stay tuned for a little bit.
We need to do that.
That would be fun.
We're going to work that. Thank you for coming to our brainstorming session today. But we're going to make that happen.
Yes.
We're going to make that happen.
Anything else in the, I guess, current event stuff?
No. I mean, it's baseball season. LSU baseball's here. I'm going to opening day, which, you know, by the time you've seen this, it's already passed.
Nice.
But I'm excited, you know, just riding the sports waves.
Love
so here we are. But that's about it.
Sweet.
So I guess we get into what we're going to be talking about a little bit today.
Yes.
When last year we were really just topic based, topic focused and things, and this year it's really more so of a conversation of, you know, based on what we've been hearing from our guests and hearing from a lot of you, just a conversation on things that we're working on in our own homes, in our own lives. And, you know, we don't do everything well, and we've admitted this quite a bit, right? And that's why this is a safe space. But, you know, growing up, I'm so thankful for my parents, like, creating an atmosphere in our house that was so welcoming.
Yeah.
I had some friends that like grew up down the street and they just didn't have the same home life that I did. And they loved spending time at my house because it just felt like a place that was stable.
Yeah.
A place that was calm, a place that was welcoming. And so, I've always said that I want to create the same place. I grew up in a house, right here in Denham, and had a little second story. And so me and my brothers, we kind of had the upstairs as our own little domain.
That's awesome.
Right? Like it was just, we would kind of go up there. Our parents weren't very strict, but they didn't have to be. We didn't do anything crazy. We did some stuff, that they probably still don't know about to this day. But, they kind of let us do our thing. And it was, my dad's motto, and it's like, I'm sure a lot of parents out there, it's like you wanted everybody coming to your house, right? Because at least you can kind of monitor it, be there. But my dad was always the sounding board where if we ever did need that fatherly wisdom and that advice, we could go to him for. And, my mom and my grandma are always cooking us food. And, man, I think about the amount of money they spent on groceries to feed us.
You don't think about that as a kid, man.
Dude,
now you're like, oh, gosh, stop eating.
Yeah, like, how do they do that?
Like, all the raspberries.
Dude, raspberries, which I ate? No.
No, I'm talking now.
Okay, gotcha. See, my house was, we didn't grow up in a healthy house.
Pizza rolls.
Oh, yeah.
Bagel bites.
Pizza rolls in the Tyson buffalo chicken fingers.
Yeah. Capri Suns.
Dude, we would go downstairs, and in the middle of the night, we would empty an entire pizza roll bag, and we wouldn't even put it in the oven, okay? We would just throw it on one plate, like this mound, put it in the microwave until it busted out the sides. That's how you knew it was done. But I'm like, the amount of bags of pizza rolls and Tyson chicken we'd go through on the weekend. But my parents would go to that length just to make sure everybody was coming to the house. And so it's something that we want to foster in our own homes.
Yep.
And I've loved watching from afar with you, even just certain things like we can have a physical space, we can do all that different stuff, but more important is what we say, what we do.
Yep.
And so that's what we're going to talk about today is what we say and what we do. Tell them a little bit about one of the things that you and your girls do, and now, while he's not saying it yet, but a few things that y'all do and talk about, like I've seen from afar, but you tell them.
Yeah. So we, in our old house, it's funny, and of course, I don't know if it's different with guys and girls, but maybe it's an age thing. The amount of whining that you get from your kids, just from the smallest of things.
Yeah.
So I took it on myself to do this whole Ted Lasso, got a motto thing.
Yes.
And I put it on our wall. It was a little art looking thing.
Yeah.
And my motto was Sandusky's don't whine.
Yep. I loved it.
And I was able to say, hey, whenever there's whining, I'd say, hey, what's the wall say? And they finally got to a point after a while of Sandusky's don't whine. But again, they'd whine 5 minutes later.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Still, I would mention, hey, we don't whine about things. You try to teach these life lessons to toddlers.
They're like, what? What?
But again, we tried that. And the motto now, we don't have a cool wall to put it on. We have a different house. But I like to tell them, try before you cry. Because right now, they're trying new things.
Yeah.
And sometimes before they even try, they say, I can't do this. I can't. And I hate hearing I can't.
Yes.
I think there's times where you really can.
Sure.
But like when you say that out loud, it sets that tone. We've talked about this in a lot of episodes of affirmations and stuff. When you say you can't, you already made your mind up.
Right.
So, and they'll start crying of them needing help. And I say, hey, try before you cry.
It's good.
So they still can't do it when they try it, but hey,
they
at least tried it. So
they made the attempt.
A couple of mottos. I say mottos, just things that to just let them hear those things that they know, and they can even say it on their own. Hey, we try before we cry.
Yeah.
We don't whine. We're Sandusky. We don't whine.
Yeah. I love it. And I've watched some of my other friends do it too. Shout out to my guy, Dustin West. He, when I was showing him and his family some houses and whatnot, I'll never forget his youngest.
That's my client.
Yeah, I know, right? I'll never forget his boy was, just like any little kid, like just whining a little bit, nothing crazy. And like in his voice, he was kind of crying while he was talking. And Dustin was like, I can't understand you while you're talking like that. I can't understand you while you're whining. And he get that he could understand him, but he had to change his tone. Right. And it's not that we're not there for him. It's not that we're not there to love on him, but it's like, hey, no, we're not going to whine. We're going to change our voice. We're going to change our attitude so that we can actually talk about this and have a conversation. And, it's one of the things that Courtney and I do in our marriage all the time is like, if I'm being difficult and we're arguing about something or whatnot, I'll stop and remember, okay, we're on the same team, right? And so, like, one of the things that we do with our family too, and something with the boys, especially having boys 2 years apart, girls, same thing. They fight with each other like crazy. Yeah. I have to remind them, Lucas, you don't have to win all the time. Max, you don't have to win all the time. Like, y'all are both on the same team.
Yes.
And so every morning or in the car before we're dropping off with school, like, they love it. We put our hands in together. Like, we break in a huddle and we say, 1, 2, 3, Team Rishu.
That's awesome.
And it's like, man, I want them to be proud of being Rishu, what that means, like Sandusky's don't whine, that, we have certain standards.
For sure.
But I think it's one thing to say, okay, Sandusky's don't whine, but if mom and dad are whining all the time, it's one thing to say it, we got to be about it too.
Yeah, we are in full struggle mode with that right now as far as,
it's tough.
With school being out so often, with these holidays, and it's easy for us. And again, disclaimer, we're not preaching this to you. We're in the middle of it trying to figure it out ourselves, but they are going to mimic what you do. So if we get a little impatient, raise our voices, they're probably going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, you mentioned kind of having that physical space when you grew up, and it was just a safe haven for places. It's probably a little reassuring to other parents as well.
Right.
Like, hey, they're going over their house, they're good. But so more than just a physical space, we talked about the words we're saying, the energy we're giving off, the tone we're having.
Right.
That's important to have in our homes. So what we say, it sets the tone for the entire day.
Right.
It sets the tone of how they think they can act in other places.
Yes.
So that's just as important.
And I think mornings are the most important. Because everybody's morning is the most stressful part of the day. Yeah. It's like, we're at home, we're hanging out. That's a little bit easier to unwind and have good conversations. But in the morning, if you're rushed, all that, go back to listen to how to start your mornings and stuff like that and doing them well. But, one thing that I decided in my house is I want to wake up before my boys. As hard as it is, and I don't always get it right, but I want to wake up before them. I don't want them to see dad groggy, getting up off the bed and this. And it's like, no, like dad wants to be up. So we're starting their morning well and right. And it's easier said than done. Yeah. Right. But it's something that I want to start the day well, because we're setting the tone. Yep. We're leading that and starting that. And I think, you never really know how good you have it until you go somewhere else and experience the other side of it. Yeah. I'll never forget. We grew up in New Orleans and then moved around a little bit and then settled in Denham. And so a friend that I'd grown up with invited me when we moved to Denham to go stay the night at his house in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. And it was, I was younger, and it was one of my first sleepovers, like farther away from home. And I'll never forget getting there and like just the tone and the atmosphere in the house just didn't feel comfortable, didn't feel welcoming. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm just not enjoying myself here. And, and I hate to say that. I mean, it just wasn't anything that I was used to. And the thing that kind of just really tipped everything was we got in the car to go to dinner. And I'll never forget, we were sitting in the back of the van, third row of the van, and I'm leaning over and I'm talking to my buddy. He's like, hey, be quiet. I'm like, huh? We can't talk in the car? And so like the mom, like very politely was just like, hey, look, while also like the dad is driving, we just don't do any talking.
Oh, that's even worse than like putting the light on the overhead. Like, you can't even talk?
Dude, we sat in the car to drive to dinner in silence.
What is it? This sucks.
Yeah, like it was terrible. And so like it was just they were nice people. Yeah. But it was so uncomfortable. Yeah. And so by the time we got home, I faked sick, and my dad drove from Denham to New Orleans to pick me up because I was not staying the night with those people. Dude. And so it's just like the tone that we set, like the uncomfortability.
Well, it's funny. I have this literally almost the same exact story. I was younger. Yeah. One of my first times sleeping over at a friend's house. Yeah. And this will sound judgmental. It's by no means not. Grew up in a Baptist household. Sure, right. You don't drink, right? Yeah. You don't, even the sight of it is no. Right. Went over to a friend's house. Friend's dad cracks open a beer. And my alert goes, oh, this is not a safe place. I did the same thing. Yeah. Faked sick. Called my mom to come pick me up. And she's like, why? I was like, he was doing a bad thing. He's like, well, what? He was drinking a beer. She's like, oh.
Dang it.
We got a little work.
We should have prepared you a little bit for that.
But to speak to that, like it was the feeling, right? Like it didn't feel to me like the space that I was supposed to be in. Again, not trying to be judgmental.
No, of course.
But I was young. So even that young, that age, I felt that.
You could feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's so important that like in the mornings, it's so easy, to just get frustrated and like rush your kids. And we've talked before in previous things. It's like, Lucas, come over here so I can put on your clothes, right? Like, and it's like, but sometimes the juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? Like the effort it takes for me to get him over there, to put his clothes on a little bit faster than him listening right away, it's like it probably saved you 15 seconds?
Yeah.
Really? But was it worth it to set the tone, to get frustrated, to do those different things? And so, it's one thing to say, hey, we're a team. It's one thing to say Sandusky's don't whine, but we have to be about it as well. Like if we're screaming, if we're whining, if we're not listening, why should we expect our kids to not scream, to not listen, to not whine? And so we have to model it, not only just say it.
And that's kind of the theme of a lot of our things. We have to be the leader. We have to be the one who sets the tone there. So these, there's plenty of scripture for it. But the words you choose to say have an impact. So if you celebrate with them and you say positive words, that's what they're going to feel. That's what they're going to hear. On the flip side, when you say those negative things, and by all means, we get impatient. We say things we're not supposed to, or just out of upset and just frustration, right?
Yeah.
So when those negative things come out, they have an impact.
Yeah.
They, no matter how young they are.
Right.
Even you mentioned Wiley. He can understand tone, I'm sure.
Right.
Things are getting loud. Right. He's probably like, whoa.
Yeah.
This ain't good.
Yeah, I don't like that. You probably see that lip quiver. Yeah. He's getting yelled at. It's like, wait, I don't like this.
So we got to be mindful of what we say.
Yeah.
Right. Not just like, don't say the bad things, but we got to say the good things as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's important.
When we had the girls on, our wives, Brandy said something like that. I feel like it hit me. I'm like, God, I've never heard of that. And it really stuck with me. And it helped me because I show myself some more grace, I guess, is that she said something to the effect of like, I feel like that God almost like insulates or protects our children from a little bit of those bad moments. Yeah. Now, that doesn't give us license to just do whatever and say whatever. But I think it's something that, that's why God says we should have childlike faith. It's because children in most of the time, they choose to see the best in their parents. Yeah. Now, if there's not a whole lot of best to be seen, then they're going to be seeing, only the negative. But I think, overall, if we're doing more good than bad almost, it's like they're a little insulated from that.
For sure. I think, again, like you say, not to give you permission to do, that, but I think that's true.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
And I think we also set the tone by not just what we say and what we do, but like just simple stuff. Like, the wives attested to this and we show it and we model it, but like, I don't know, feeling it and then experiencing it and like doing chores around the house with a smile or like without having to be asked. And like, like modeling that behavior for our children is just key. Like by setting the tone, like, we're going to be a house that honors each other. Right. And that's one of the things that we've been switching is a little bit of the verbiage of like, hey, like just listen, like to like, hey, we're a house that honors each other. Yeah. Right. Like your brother told you to stop punching him in the face. like, so listen to him. No, it's like, hey, how does that let's go to the honor thing and trying to explain honor to a 3-year-old.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Is really difficult, but it's more of like, maybe he doesn't wrap his mind around honor, but it's like, it's not that he just told you not, but how does that make him feel? Yeah. Do you feel like that's lifting your brother up or it's not a good thing? Right. So, just modeling, but if I'm going to ask my 3-year-old to do it and I'm not honoring his mother or if I'm not honoring them, then it's a vain pursuit. It's hypocritical. It's why could I ask that of them if I'm not doing that myself?
And I think sometimes too, it's hard, the whole element of social media. Once you feel like you got it nailed down, something pops up and you're like, you're doing this, it's probably wrong and hurting and giving trauma to your kid. And you're like, oh gosh, I've been doing that for 2 years. Yeah. I thought it was the right thing, but getting caught up on what you feel is right or wrong or the others' opinions of what you should or shouldn't be doing. I guess I'm pitching to you the question. How do you feel that?
It's tough. I find myself, my TikTok algorithm has a lot of those like dad tips and things like that. It's because what I'm interested in and passionate about or whatnot. But I'll find myself too sending them to Courtney sometimes, and she's like, "What are you saying? Like, well, no, are we not doing this right? Or are we not?" It's like, no, it's just like this perspective and this take and all this different stuff. And I don't know. I kind of go back to again, like because I don't always do it well. But just making sure that I'm communicating even with my boys that they get it. Like this last week has been really, really busy. We're planning for a conference. We got all these different things coming. And so I've been getting home late and been spending less time with them. So the time that I am spending with them, I'm making sure that I'm absolutely 100% present. It's like I don't care what's happening on the phone. Sometimes I'll have to make sure that I'm going to take a call or something like that. But I'm like, hey, no, I'm letting them know, like, I am here with y'all.
Yeah.
I've only got this hour, but this hour is going to be totally invested, totally in whatever y'all want to do. Dad's here 100%.
Yeah.
And telling them, like, hey, I'm sorry I've been working so much. Hey, I'm sorry I'm doing this, but I'm doing this, and I'll make sure that this time is totally devoted to you.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That is clutch. Being present factor. Brandy has constantly reminded me, and it's one of those things where I feel like I'm helping, but I'm really not. But when I get home, I know that we both like a clean environment, right?
Yeah, us too.
So I go into, hey, I want to start cleaning up to help with that.
Right.
And I'm doing the dishes or I'm doing something, and Brandy will like, hey, you need to come hang out with the girls. You haven't been with them all day. And I'm like, well, I'm helping with this. And she's like, you can do that later. They're going to go to bed and you can do that.
Yeah.
Which I can.
Yeah.
I think I'm helping, but she just has to remind, hey, be present.
Yes.
Come hang out with them.
That's something that Courtney and I both have to check ourselves on too. It's like, okay, well, we cooked dinner, we did all this. Like, we need to make sure everything's clean before we hang out with them. It's like, well, what's more important?
Yeah.
And so it's a big deal. I'm with you. And one thing I've had to catch myself on, and y'all make fun of me, roast me if you want about this, but we watched The Bachelor in our house.
Ugh.
Courtney got convicted for a while. No, but we stopped watching for a while, and then we watched. Did you see they did a Golden Bachelor?
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I heard
Okay, we picked back up on the Golden Bachelor, okay, because it was sweet and innocent and all this different stuff. But I had to watch myself. We're not sitting there watching The Bachelor with the boys. They would not watch it, Sure. But growing up, like, I would watch different shows and stuff with my parents and everything. I even had to watch, like, how I'm commenting about things on TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, this is one of the things, golly, I'm exposing myself, but somebody's going to relate to this.
Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe.
I was commenting on the way that somebody looked.
Yeah.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, what kind of example am I setting for my boys? They're not watching it with us now, but one day if they're in junior high, high school, whatever it is, and I would just watch TV with my parents, and they're going to do that one day too. And if I'm sitting there commenting on like how this person looks, it's like, bro, that's just not a good look.
You're eventually going to think, what does he think about me, how I look?
Yeah. That or it sets the tone or the model for them to start to look at other people that way. That was the biggest thing to me. It's like, I don't want them to look at somebody else and say, oh, well, they look funny. And that's where I'm just like, no, dude, I don't want my kids to be like that.
Yeah.
And so, it's just even the small things. We got to watch what we say watching a TV show.
I'll go even smaller. Core Jane, of course, being a girl dad, you're a little protective. Even at a 4-year-old, you're like, who's this boy, right? She tends to make friends with boys in her class. And there's this little dude named, I'll give him a shout out, Tanner.
Yeah, Tanner.
Never met the dude in my life, but that's her best friend, and she's always kind of like, I downplay it with like playing the tough dad role.
Yeah,
she'll talk about it. I'm like, well, it sounds like Tanner's a nerd, and I'm like, all right, I probably shouldn't be talking about these little
she
kids.
Doesn't go repeat that.
Like, I say, I don't care about Tanner. How's I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, for sure.
She doesn't see it as a little boyfriend girlfriend thing, but
right.
I don't need to be speaking negatively about the 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Class.
Well, one thing, with all this being said, and it's just, like I said, guys, y'all know this is just an open conversation about setting the tone, setting the atmosphere in our homes. But like, we need to make sure Courtney and I, like you guys, are, people will come over to our house and they'll compliment Courtney and be like, how do you keep the house looking like this? She just takes so much pride in keeping up a nice house. But there's a fine balance where it's like, we don't want our house to be a place where they can't go outside, make a freaking mess, and then run back inside and feel like they can't mess it up.
Yeah.
So like, you got to toe that line of like, we still want our house to be a place where kids can just be kids. And so we constantly battle with that. And we also have to constantly battle with like, we're going to intentionally make things together for our family that's fun. Right now for us, that's headbands.
Okay.
Like, we played a little headbands game. Yeah. Max gets it completely. Lucas doesn't have a clue. But I know y'all do stuff like that too. Like, y'all have a bunch of stuff that y'all work in to have fun and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Brandy, she's the creator of the family. She constantly is having these little like just art kits and like does cool crafts with them and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know any of that.
But sometimes
I do thumb wars. Thumb wars with Madison. That's kind of like our thing. Yeah. Or she loves it, even though I smoke her every time. Sometimes I'll let her win. But just constantly doing those little things, have fun, sprinkle in. I mean, you can easily just put them in front of the TV and screen time. Right. But I mean, you've got to You've got to have those things to cultivate that just atmosphere.
We haven't gone this far yet, and I think as we get older, we're going to have to. But it's like we have a family night one night a week.
That's awesome.
But like right now, we don't really have to because we have a couple of nights a week where we get to do that. But I think once you get older and kids start going in their own directions or start driving, you start reserving and saying, hey, Monday night's going to be our night that nothing else comes in the way. This is what we do as a family. And it's always a game that you're playing or something like that. There's so many options and things like that where you could do. But I love just the small stuff, like eeny, miny, mo. Like we do eeny, miny, mo to pick everything all the time, right? Or it's rock, paper, scissors. All I just, like, it's an encouragement for all of you. Like you said, Rhett, like just... maybe just watching a movie together. We do that all the time. We love movie night and all that stuff, but maybe that's not the family time that you need. Maybe it's to institute a little fun. Maybe it's a little game night. Maybe it's playing headbands. Maybe it's playing Candyland, throwback, all that different stuff. It's what we're doing right now. Like just create fun in your home.
Yeah.
Things that your family all enjoys doing together. And I think if you try it, you'll find that there's things that it's not just kiddie, it's stuff that you'll actually enjoy too.
Yeah. But again, think about the purpose of that. It's not just to pass the time. Because sometimes we're like, all right, only this much time till bedtime. Just want to do stuff to pass the time. No, it's setting the tone for the atmosphere. And again, it goes back just to the smallest of words you say.
Yeah.
You know, having that just open line of communication and setting the tone with your words and your actions. And that's why you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really expressing the priority. And I keep picking on my buddy Lucas. I hope that one day when he watches this and can understand, he doesn't feel any kind of way about his dad. But, keeping the lines of communication open with your kids and with your family is so important. And it's really hard when, every parent has had those seasons of life where your kid is just really pushing the buttons. Mm-hmm. And Lucas, in every way, is just trying to rebel a little bit, not listening the first time. It's like we took him to a soccer game the other night, and I'm like, Lucas, stop going up to bleachers. And he turns around and looks right in my face and turns right back around. And it's like, dude, just blatant disrespect, like, oh my gosh. And so pushing the envelope and stuff like that. So it's hard to walk the line of disciplinarian. Yeah. Like, hey, that's not going to be okay. But you know that daddy loves you. And, one thing that I just started, and, maybe this isn't for everybody. And I really felt like this nudge for a long time. And I finally just started doing it about 3 months ago is I have a reminder on my phone that pops up on the 5th of every month. And it's to write the kids a letter.
That's cool.
And so I have started once a month just writing to my boys and to Emma already. Mm. And I don't know when I'm going to give it to them. Yeah. And it's just a Google Doc that I just keep pounding away at. And it's fun, man. And what I've noticed that it does for me every month is it really kind of resets my perspective. Yeah. I'll go back and read the month before every time before I write. And it's like, man, how much has changed in a month? Yeah. Or happened in a month? Awesome. It helps me just reaffirm my kids, speak life to them. And I don't know when I'm going to give it to them. Yeah. Like, I hope that I can collect it all one day. And when they're 16, 17, 18, graduating high school or getting married or something like that, that I can give it to them. That's awesome. And just show them like, hey, dad may have not always got it right, but he loved you. He thought about you. He made you a priority and all that.
That's a good reminder. And then I need to do that again. Whenever Madison, when we were going through foster care, I started a little journal.
Oh, that's cool.
Of just like honest thoughts. Yeah. Of like, hey, this is kind of what's going on right now. So one day I could give it to her. Yeah. And then we ended up adopting her. And then I still kind of kept journaling a little bit about it. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to give this to her on her wedding day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool, man.
Then when Cora Jane came along and bought a journal, I started with that. But I've fallen, at night sometimes you're like, all right.
I know. It's time to
just
shut it off.
Maybe I'll do a Google Doc.
Yeah, do writing for me. I feel like I need to go back to elementary school.
I know, it just takes so long. And I'm like, this is like, it hurts.
Is it eligible? Yeah. Golly, see, I can't.
Eligible?
Yeah, can you even read it?
Legible?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's a good, because it helps, again, whatever works for you, just setting that perspective. To get your mind right.
That's right.
I'll end this with a story,
please,
before we kind of wrap things up. But the power of words, right? Whenever I was, I don't know how old, middle school, I was in a little league. Yeah. One thing my dad always called me was big guy. Yeah. Like that was his term for me, big guy. Yeah. And he would help some years coach their team. Yeah. And I don't remember if it was practice or a game, but he was coaching another kid, and I heard him call him big guy, and I was like, my heart just like broke, right? Yeah. And I kind of held it in for a while, and they could tell that night. And the next day, something was wrong. Like, wait, what's wrong? And I told him that it's so little, but I was like, you called whoever it was, big guy, and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But like that word, that
was term of endearment.
That was for me. It meant so much to me at even a young age. So words are important.
Wow.
That's
cool.
They make a big difference. So I don't say that to put pressure, of course. I mean, I think some good, healthy amount of pressure.
Yeah.
It's important. But also, me and Brandy had to talk the other day of like, hey, it's not too far gone. Like, you don't just mess up and, all right, we screwed it up.
That's right.
It's all, every day is a new day. It's a refreshing start.
Right.
Set that environment, set that tone on a healthy page.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's huge. I think that I've said this in previous podcasts before, is that I think I probably went out into the real world with an unhealthy amount of self-confidence. And it's probably because my parents did talk me up and encourage me and build me up and talked about my strengths probably even more than my weaknesses. But real quick in the real world, I figured out, and it humbled me.
Yeah.
But I think you can probably build going out into the real world, it's harder to build your self-confidence, but it's a whole lot easier to just kind of build some humility.
Yeah.
And so, I guess that would be my final reminder for you is build your children up, right? Like there's enough in the world that's going to pull them down. So at home, they need their cheerleaders. They need their encouragement. And they need discipline. They need structure. They need rules. But more than anything, I want to build my kids up.
Absolutely, man.
So...
Well, before we end this,
please.
I think we would remind some people new segments we got going on, right? One thing we want to ask a favor of you, if you don't mind, if you got some value out of this, one, share it with somebody. Two, we love for you to review us.
Yes, please.
On Apple Podcasts, you can type a little something, do a little stars. On Spotify, I think you just got to click. But we want to give a shout out to a couple people that have left us a review.
Yeah, we got some really good ones.
Is that okay?
Please.
Let's see. This one is from, we don't know who it is. Jakey is cool one. Shout out Jakey.
This is my favorite one.
This is the best podcast I've ever listened to. It's also the only podcast I've ever listened to, but the point still stands. So
yeah, it's good.
5 stars there. Thanks, Jakey.
Thanks, Jakey.
And then we got a friend, Bradford. Bradford, thanks for leaving this. Oh, it's a little long, but I'll just give you a little snippets.
Yeah.
House Dads is one of my go-to podcasts every week. Rhett and Brandon skillfully balance humor with insightful discussions on life and leadership. Their banter is spot on, keeping things light and engaging throughout each episode. Whether they're sharing funny stories, ranking Disney movies, or dropping some knowledge, the duo effortlessly connects with the listeners. So
Bradford's a wordsmith.
Yeah,
that was really good.
You
Thank you, Bradford.
GPT that, but I don't care. We'll take it. 5
that was
stars.
awesome. Thank you, man.
So but we appreciate the reviews you guys have given us. We don't want to keep this a secret. Obviously, we want to grow and build a community of people that have the same interests in mind and goals in mind. So leave us a review. We'd love that.
Leave us a review. Continue to connect with us on social media. DM us. We want to bring back the mailbag segment. I had a couple mailbag questions that we didn't get to today. But send us whatever. If it's a funny story that you want to shout out on the show, we'd be glad to do that. If it's a question, if it's something you want us to talk about, like a topic or whatnot, we'd be glad to do that as well. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Hope you guys got some value out of this and just encouraged you to continue to set the tone, right? The atmosphere in your home is really up to you. So let's not make an excuse for it, and let's make sure we lead from the front and set a good tone for our house.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to add?
That's it.
That's it. Well, hey, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.